had better days.
Every day is a better day, sir.
Every day's a better day.
Yeah.
No, not today.
Why not?
I got laid off this morning. Boss said I wasn't pulling my weight for my job.
You have to work, you know, to make money, you have to work. To
Yeah.
feed your family.
You got fired. Trust me, I know.
Got fired?
I know you gotta work. I got fired, so.
My girlfriend says she wants to take a break from our relationship and to see other people.
You were divorced from your wife, first wife?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, now you are with your second wife?
Yeah, something like that. Those things used to be so good, man. Things used to be so good.
And she did it after my mom got in the hospital, so I already have so much stress, so everything's just so bad, I just can't deal with it anymore.
I actually got 2 kids.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh my God. How old are they?
I have a 3-year-old and a 10-year-old.
You know, the things will get better as time.
I believed in that once upon a time. And then bad things just started happening, and you know, maybe life just isn't for everybody. Maybe not everybody is cut out to be able to handle the problems that life throws at us.
Nothing's going the way I expected it to. That's all. It's just, I've really had enough.
Oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this. Can you just, can you stop up here? Yeah, stop right here, stop right here. Stop right here, please. Just stop right here. Look, listen, I want to thank you so much for talking to me. I want to thank you so much for everything. I really appreciate it, okay? I really appreciate those words. That was really the best thing to hear before everything happened. Thank you, man.
Sir, it's $28.30, sir. Sir?
You're 60
Oh,
for your family.
Sir, that's too much, sir.
And this is a note
Not
that I need you to give my family.
your family? Why I have to give it to your family, sir?
What?
What are you going to do? What are you trying to do here?
I told you, life is hard. I can't handle. I'm gonna
You
jump.
cannot jump off this.
Why?
Because
Life is hard. I can't. Life is rough for me. I don't want to live anymore.
you cannot do this to yourself.
Why?
Because you're young. You got your life to live.
My life is rough.
What about your mother? Do you not think she wants you to be here?
I gotta do this.
Don't jump, sir. Don't jump, sir.
I have to do this.
No, sir. Sir, you don't die, sir.
Come on, please. This isn't your job. This isn't your business.
No, sir.
This has nothing to do with you.
What the?
I have to do this. This is for me.
Yes, sir, I have ever seen her. Sir, it will be $60, but the bill is only $28, sir. Sir, don't die, sir. We need good people like you, sir. Sir,
I'm not-
sir, you have 2 boys, sir. 2-year-old boys, sir. They need you.
If you cannot jump off the bridge, then what? Huh? Your mother could be crying. Do you want your mother to cry?
I can't live this rough life anymore. Rough life.
What about your mother? Do you not think that?
Do you have a rough life? Do you know what it goes through?
I drive this cab every day, 25 years. Some days I make only $10. You talking about a rough life? This is a rough life.
Sir, sir, please, sir. Please, sir. Please, sir. Sir, sir, sir. Sir, think about this, sir. Sir, I can live my life, you can live your life, sir. Sir, I came across from India all across the world, sir. And I can make it here, you can make it here, sir. Believe me.
You can do this. Just think about what you're trying to say to yourself. Your mother loves you, your family loves you.
Imagine the life of your 2-year-old boy. How he's gonna survive. Imagine the 10-year-old boy, they need you, sir. They need a dad to be with them, to support them, sir. And if you're gonna die, who is gonna be their dad?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Get back in the car.
Can I just tell you something?
Sir, please.
Your You're one of the greatest men I've ever met in my life.
Thank you, sir.
I also want to tell you.
You are the best man, sir. I ever met. I never got a tip like this, sir.
I gotta tell you something else. There's cameras all over this parking lot, and we're filming a show, and you're one of the greatest guys I've ever met in my life. I'm not actually jumping. Nobody's jumping today. And if somebody was jumping, they wouldn't if you were beside them. You just saved my life, man.
This is just a part of life that you will go through in your life. But you will be okay. Things will work out just fine. And your mother will be proud. She will be better. You understand?
Yeah.
As a psychiatrist, bila saya first time tengok video ni, was looking for a video to go through untuk share with my previous talk before. Saya kena admitted that saya kena mengaku yang bila saya first tengok video ni, I shed some tears as well. Keluar air mata kecil sikit. Bukan sebab psychiatrist ni dia hati tisu, tapi pada saya apa yang dipoteri atau digambarkan dalam video itu sangat dekat dengan hati kita. Now, throughout this 2 days workshop, ada 3 persoalan yang kita kena jawab. Okay? Pertama, what? Kedua, how? Ketiga, why? With regards to suicide prevention. Pertama, what is suicide prevention? So throughout the day, kita akan dapat some point tentang apa benda suicide prevention ni. And number 2 is how. Kalau kita betul-betul nak be part of suicide prevention team in IIUM Medical Center ni, apa yang kita nak kena buat. Now, kalau kita tengok video tadi tu, it's a social experiment by a YouTuber done with 2 orang foreigners dekat United States yang works as a taxi driver. Now, none of these 2 taxi drivers had any training, kita boleh assume so, in suicide prevention. Kalau kita bercakap tentang what is suicide prevention, how we going to do suicide prevention, 2 orang tu mungkin clueless, tak tahu anything about suicide prevention. Tapi ada one important questions yang dia tahu jawapannya, which is why we need to do suicide prevention. And that's what most important question yang kita kena answer today. So you'll get some what, you get some how, tapi yang more importantly yang kita semua bawa balik hari ni adalah why we have to be involved with suicide prevention. And hopefully some ideas kita dah start terbit dalam fikiran kita bila kita tengok video tadi. Now, another thing yang saya selalu share bila saya talk pasal suicide adalah this. Okay, so kalau siapa yang selalu berlegar-legar di social media, whenever you see news about suicide, rajin-rajin tengok komen tu, you'll see some true colours of siapa kita as a human being. And sometimes we see things like this. Okay, put aside siapa yang post ni, tapi reflect on apa di sebalik, apa yang tersirat di sebalik apa yang dikongsikan. So a lot of patients yang deal with mental health problems, dia akan sebut pada kita, they suffer with 2 troubles. Ada 2 benda yang menderitai mereka. Pertama, the disease itself. Penyakit mental ni memberi kesan pada jiwa mereka. Tapi that is nothing compared to the second trouble that they get, which is the stigma that comes with it. And some people, dia akan kata, saya boleh bear the struggle of schizophrenia, bipolar, depression, but sometimes I just lost it. I just lost the suffering that I have to face with regard to stigma that I have to face because of mental illness that I've never choose to get in the first place. Okay, so that's one of the things yang kita kena faham bila kita bercakap tentang kesihatan mental. Now, saya akan go through very quickly a few facts and myths regarding suicide so that kita boleh start kita punya pagi ni dengan some ideas about what suicide and what suicide prevention is all about. Okay, kita just nak main small game saja. Kita just nak jawab setiap persoalan untuk setiap fakta ni sama ada dia myth atau facts. So the first one is suicide is rare. Myth ke facts? Oi, senyap semua orang. Baik, sebab Dr. Nabil kata kalau senyap tak dapat sijil. Okay, myth ke facts? Myth ke facts? Myth. Okay, alright. So, a lot of us sometimes think because we have not seen one, ada siapa yang pernah deal with suicide directly? So kita ada 40, 50 plus here. None of you have come across suicide. Therefore, somebody concluded that it must be rare things. But the fact is, it is not something yang rare. So, 1 every 40 seconds, there will people die from suicide. Okay, selalunya kita tak sebut committed suicide, kita sebut die from suicide. That's a better term to use. Okay, so saya dah bercakap roughly around 10 minutes. Kalau darab 60 bagi 40, so that translated in numbers into 15 people already died from suicide by the time kita sampai to this point bila kita berkongsi tentang suicide. And it is not something yang kita tak pernah dengar atau tak pernah jumpa. Maybe to us, tapi reality dalam dunia ni, and 800,000 died of suicide every year. And for 15 to 29 years old, and orang yang we thought ada plenty of life ahead of them, ada banyak benda yang diorang perlu teroka dalam hidup mereka, tapi second cause of death dalam this group of people adalah suicide. After apa? And budak umur 15 sampai 29, suicide is punca kedua mereka mati. Nombor satu agak-agak apa? Mak bunuh. Accident. Okay? Lepas accident. So lepas orthopedic, psychiatry. Okay. And kalau kita tengok numbers of death throughout the world, kalau kita combine and people yang mati sebab dibunuh dan sebab perang, we'll find that orang yang meninggal sebab bunuh diri lebih banyak daripada orang meninggal sebab perang. So we hate war, doesn't mean that kita boleh ignore war, tapi at the same time we have another war that we need to be worried about. And war that happen almost every days, and towards people yang struggling with mental illness. Now, second thing, ini semua masalah orang besar sahaja, masalah dewasa sahaja. It's an adult problem only. Truth or dare pula. Facts or myth? Myth juga. So another myth yang kita juga perlu faham. Tadi kita bercakap tentang general statistic yang generally apply to adults, but the truth is, it is not something yang rare bila kita bercakap dalam konteks remaja dan kanak-kanak. Okay? So mungkin masa kita remaja dulu dan kita fikir pasal, kenapa fikir pasal apa yang masa remaja dulu? Masjid lah. Waktu masuk UIA, saya salah tempat ni. Bina masjid. Okay, yang lain fikir pasal apa masa yang sisters ni fikir pasal apa yang masa remaja? Nak kahwin, jerawat. Sebab dia tak jawab Dr. Rajif kan? Dr. Rajif dah masa remaja. Okay, so we all had stereotype thinking pasal what teenagers like. Dan tapi bila kita survey on teenagers in Malaysia, 15 to 18 years old, dalam National Mobility Health Survey 2017, kita find out something yang rather intriguing, something yang betul ke ni? Tapi inilah facts and figures yang kita kena hadam. 11.2% translated into 1 in 10. Kalau satu kelas tingkatan 1 ada 30 orang, that means berapa orang?
3 orang.
Berapa? 3. Betul. So 3 orang admitted that they have ideas to kill themselves. Okay, ini bukan ideas pasal macam mana nak siapkan kerja sekolah, assignment, no. Ideas to kill themselves. 9 had planned, and 10% have attempted. Dan saya sebut cerita kisah ni pergi sekolah, dan kaunselor bagi tahu dia jumpa seorang budak ada scratch mark dekat tangan. Dia tanya sebab apa? Dia kata dia stress, dia kelar tangan dia. Cikgu dia panik. Dia panggil semua student beratur, dia check tangan seorang-seorang. Tak ada kerja cikgu ni, dia check tangan seorang-seorang. Dia check tangan seorang-seorang, dia jumpa another 50 orang lagi with the same signs. Dia cakap dengan saya Saya cakap apa dengan dia? Doktor cikgu cek tangan je. Cuba cikgu cek paha. Mungkin 100 pula. Because that's what's been happening. Kalau kita Google bunuh diri dan remaja. Bila kita enter, dia akan come out 7.8 million hits. 7.8 hits keluar with regards to that topic. And that's explained, some people resort to that. And siapa yang baca cerita tentang unfortunate girl, 16 years old, who jump off the building, jump off the house, and disebabkan bila dia stress, something happened to her in her life, dia posted on her Instagram, DOL. And it happened that 69% of orang yang voted dalam dia punya Instagram post tu voted for D, which means
Dah.
yeah.
Kejut. Ni climax.
Right. So bila
Dah
death
habis.
dia kena ada macam
Ah,
macam
ya.
cerita Hindustan lah. Gitu lah. So that's the fact that okay, so itu hakikat yang berlaku. So itu hakikat yang berlaku dalam konteks remaja kita hari ini. And 1 in 5 reported symptoms of depression, 1 in 10 symptom of stress. And jangan pelik because most of them will end up jadi siapa? Jadi menantu-menantu korang semua ni. Most of them akan end up jadi people yang kita akan deal with. And they'll grow up as an adult. They'll be in the university. They'll be in the workplace. They'll be part of us as a colleague. And maybe they are part of us pun. Okay? Okay. The third fact, and the third statement, and asking someone if they are suicidal will put ideas in their head. Truth of myth. Myth or fact? Okay, berbelah bahagi nampaknya. Siapa rasa ini fakta, angkat tangan. Siapa rasa ini myth, jangan angkat tangan. Angkat tangan. Asking someone, okay macam ni. Kalau orang tu, kita tanya dia, awak nak bunuh diri ke? Kita rasa sebelum ni dia tak terfikir, tapi sebab kita tanya, oh, ada idea dah nak buat apa. Terima kasih Kak, tolong bagi tahu, jumpa lagi 15. Maksudnya, bagi tahu atau tanya seseorang tentang suicide akan trigger somebody untuk suicide. Betul ke tak betul? Siapa rasa betul kat tangan? Okey, siapa rasa tak betul kat tangan? Kenapa korang rasa tak betul? Tak betul, ambil appointment jumpa sekretari. Okey, so jawapannya adalah sebenarnya this is a myth. Okay, myth kerana apa? Kerana bila somebody yang dia come out dengan suicidal ideation, suicidal attempt, during that time they have already established that belief. They are already in the mood yang trigger them to be suicidal. Walaupun kita rasa kita ni power, boleh influence other people, I mean the fact is it is not as simple as that. In fact, sebenarnya asking someone if they are suicidal and ada terfikir ke nak bunuh diri is one of protective factors. Because study shows 9 out of 10 adolescent yang ada suicidal ideation, dia mengaku yang dia akan bagi tahu somebody about it before they do it. Yang maksudnya apa? There will be a lot of signs yang dia tunjukkan untuk dia bagi tahu I need help. I need help. I need help. Tapi maybe not in that sentence. Mungkin bukan dalam struktur yang sedemikian. And tapi they have highlighted 9 daripada 10, they have highlighted at some point bahawa someday dia mungkin akan buat. Jadi bila kita tanya dia, are you suicidal? It's actually pintu. And pintu untuk kita buka cerita, untuk mereka bercerita, and then daripada situ baru kita boleh figure out apa yang kita boleh buat untuk bantu mereka. So we'll talk about this more petang ni insyaAllah, tentang macam mana kita nak open up with people, and so that they will talk more about it. Okay? People who talk about suicide are just attention seeking. So bila dia datang overdose Panadol 3 biji, overdose antibiotik 4 biji, Sebenarnya semua ni nak seeking attention dah ni. Betul ke tak betul? Myth or fact? Okay, so a lot of us mungkin sebut dia myth. Tapi our reaction most of the time will reflect that kita sebenarnya percaya this is the facts. Kalau ingat balik komen Facebook yang saya share tadi tu, they reflect a lot about our misunderstanding. And so saya sebut, even people yang suicidal, yang kita rasa dia nak seek attention, if you give them attention, they will not do anything. Sebab apa? Sebab they're not looking for attention. And kalau adolescent, most of them basically are looking for attachment. Dia cari tempat bergantung, cari tempat berpaut. Yang lost for whatever reason. Family issues, relationship issues, issues with parents. And so, it's not attention that they're looking for, tapi yang dia nak look for sebenarnya adalah support. So a lot of the time, the behavior tu, true, it may not truly reflect suicidality, tapi at some point they reflect to us that they need help. So what they need is help. Mungkin ada orang tanya, macam mana nak beza doktor? Orang ni dia sebenarnya saja-saja nak cari perhatian ke, atau dia memang betul-betul nak mati? And to me, our job as general public is not to differentiate them. Our job as general public adalah untuk take any suicidal intention, any suicidal ideation, any suicide attempt seriously. And bab dia ada secondary gain, tertiary gain, tertiary gain semua tu, to be a professional yang decide. Kita punya role is kita take it seriously. Because we will never know out of the 10 attempts tu, yang mana yang akan eventually succeeded. Okay, so itu yang important. People who think about suicide are weak or selfish. So again, another statement yang kita selalu dengar. So facts or myth? Okay, so this is also common misconception yang kita selalu faham. Selalu salah faham. Kita sebut, kenapa tak cuba bertahan? Kenapa tak cuba kuatkan diri? Kenapa tak cuba all sort of things yang kata-kata semangat yang kita bagi? But the fact is, kalau you tanya every single of them, dia akan jawab, I have had enough. Maksudnya dia dah buat semua yang dia termampu pada dia punya capacity. Bukan kita punya capacity. Pada capacity dia dah buat semua yang dia termampu. Dan semua orang ada capacity yang berbeza. Dan sebab tu kita tak boleh, mak aku boleh lawan komunis, kenapa kau tak boleh buat assignment? Mak aku kena lawan komunis pun tak suicidal, kenapa kau buat assignment stress boleh jadi suicidal? So the fact is everyone is different. And anak kita kena marah cikgu, kita itu pun nak sedih. Kita kena marah dengan bos 3 minggu mengajuk. Sama aja. Cuma different plots. Tapi the truth behind it the same. So only person with depression commits suicide. And this is also another common misconception. Okay? So we thought that murung lah tu. Betul, depression associated with a lot of suicidality, because suicide itself tu is one of the symptoms of depression. So bila kita sedih, tapi associated with thoughts of dying, thoughts of not wanting to live, so that is basically another symptom yang may suggestive of depression. But at the same time, we also need to be aware of that depression is not the only causes of suicide. Okay, so 90% of suicide relates to mental health problem, but only roughly around 50-60% saja yang associated with depression, which basically means there are also other illness yang boleh contribute to depression. Kalau in medical ward, inpatient, apa most common cause of suicide? Siapa yang duduk medical, terus tak nak mengaku. In medical ward, inpatient, apa the most? Delirium, good. Okay, so delirium. Okay, so for whatever reason, ada infection, hypoglycemia, whatever medical condition that they have, make them lost it. And lost it ni maksudnya dia hilang pertimbangan. So they may not express, saya hidup tak guna tak. They just confused. And as a result of confusion, balcony tu dia nampak seperti pantai-pantai di Cerating. So dia pun pergi, lama dah tak mandi laut. So it may happen in such a way. So kalau kita just looking for passion kata 7 depressed, 8 tak depressed, 9 tak depressed, 10 tak depressed, 11 tak depressed, okay, settle kerja kita. No, it is not as simple as that. There are other things that we also need to assess. Bagi tahu saya, bila time is up, it is impossible to stop suicide. Okay, possible ke tak possible nak stop suicide ni? Possible or not possible to stop suicide? Nanti kan syariah compliant unit kata ajar di tangan Tuhan 40 hari dalam perut sudah ditentukan dia mati ke hidup. Okay. Betul lah tu. Tapi kita nak sebut tentang preventing people from becoming suicidal. That's one of the thing. And they die or they live tu is beyond kita punya jurisdiction. Tapi kita punya job as a health professional adalah untuk memastikan mereka tidak sampai ke that stage. Okay? And suicide may not be fully predictable. Mana kita may come up with all sort of things untuk predict siapa yang akan suicide, tapi it's at some point hard. There are people yang tak ada any signs at all, tapi tahu-tahu bunuh diri. Tapi one thing that we need to know adalah suicide is preventable. And kita boleh elak. Suicide happens on impulse alone. Maksudnya orang suicide ni dia
Terburu-buru.
tak payah prevent, kalau dia nak buat, dia buat juga. Dia ikut dan dia je. Okay. Now this is also another thing yang kita kena be aware of. Sebab apa? Sebab most of the time, suicide happen through stages. So they start become sad, for example, and they become worthless, useless, hopeless, helpless, and they start with passive suicidal ideation. Tak adalah saya nak mati doktor, tapi kalau saya bawa kereta tu tiba-tiba lori datang langgar ke, tak apalah, saya pasrah je lah. So passive death wishes and then active death wishes. They start come up with ideation. So semua tu dia tak berlaku dalam masa 3 saat. It happen in stages. And ada satu news yang saya selalu share, saya tak share dekat sini, cerita tentang budak 13 years old hang herself dalam bilik di Penang. And dalam Astro Awani, dia cerita tentang apa yang berlaku. Dia capture one picture. Gambar budak tu tulis suicide notes. Dia suicide in August. The suicide note dated May. Okay, so daripada bulan Mei dia dah contemplating on suicide. And for whatever reason and that unfortunate girl had. So it gave us an ideation that kita ada plenty of time untuk intervene. We may intervene at the point of sadness, we may intervene at the point of hopelessness, we may intervene at the point of dia rasa passive suicide ideation or active suicide ideation. Yang penting kita find out where they are. So without kita listening to them, we won't know dekat mana dia. Dan kalau dia baru sebut satu perkataan, kita terus jump in, terus nak bagi ceramah, terus nak berleter, now it won't solve the problem. Okay, there are no warning signs to suicide. So this is also another myth. Most suicide comes with warning sign. Ada 3 benda yang kita kena perhatikan. Pertama, perhatikan patient itu sendiri. Tengok patient will give us some clue. Sebelum ni semangat, happy, riuh gendah bilik dia, 2-3 hari ni senyap je. Bukan senyap asystole, maknanya senyap, maknanya tak bercakap sangat. Selalu pergi fisio dah tak nak dah. Okay, so there are things yang kita akan belajar nanti tentang risk assessment. And then second is about their thoughts and what's in their mind. And third is what's the story. Sometimes kita tengok patient kita elok, gelak-gelak, senyum-senyum, rupanya di sebalik tu and dia tengah serabut. Siapa nak bayar bil aku ni nanti? And suami lari and kerja dah kena buang, parents jauh. Okay, so sometimes kalau kita fail to see beyond patients, kita akan terlepas pandang points yang akan mungkin bantu kita memahami apa di sebalik yang berlaku. So people who talk about suicide, who have attempted before, won't do it. And alah dia ni 5 kali dah bulan ni datang. Kejap Panadol, kejap Euphamol, kejap Kotal. Tahu Kotal? Lama tak dengar Kotal. Panadol kanak-kanak. Tak adanya dia mati. Letaklah dekat operation wheelbarrow tu, nanti petang lagi dia balik dah tu, dia dah penat je dia balik dah tu. True, sometimes that's probably what we see most of the time. But the problem is, we never know. We never know which of the attempts tu dia akan succeeded. On average, female suicide attempters akan attempt berapa kali sebelum dia committed suicide agak-agak?
More than 4.
Female suicide attempters, berapa kali dia akan attempt before they eventually succeeded at suicide?
Banyak kali.
25. Male, berapa kali agak-agak?
Sekali.
3 kali. So 1 out of the 3 attempts akan succeed. 1 out of the 25 attempts they will succeed. Male and female respectively. Jangan kerja kira pula depan ni. Allah, baru 23, tak apalah. Sebab last shift ni aku baru 23. Bukan macam tu lah. So faham point dia. Okay? One suicidal, there will always be suicidal. And pun another untrue facts. And because most of the time things can change. Things are dynamic depending on their protective factors. And bila kita bantu mereka untuk identify these protective factors, they may change from suicidal to non-suicidal. Okay, last one. There's nothing you can do about it. Siapa rasa facts, angkat tangan. Siapa rasa myth, angkat tangan. Siapa tak berasa apa-apa? Dia anhedonik pagi ni. Siapa rasa dia myth, angkat tangan. Okay. So there's always something we can do about it with regard to suicide. So hopefully today, from the second and third discussion, and then petang ni punya discussion, we'll get some idea what, how, and why you're going to do it, and more importantly, apa yang kita boleh buat. If there's really something that I can do about it with regards to suicide.
When someone says, I don't want to live anymore,
we ask,
why do you want to die?
but instead of listening to their answer, we say, don't be stupid.
Why would you even think that?
Apa yang kita ada dalam fikiran kita dan yang keluar dekat mulut. So ini apa yang ada dalam fikiran kita, tapi apa yang keluar daripada mulut.
Stop thinking silly thoughts.
There are others who are much worse off than you.
It's very selfish of you to leave everyone behind.
But then we're talking about ourselves and how we feel.
So, many people stay silent.
And too often, we miss the signs. So, what should we say?
If your friend came to you and said, my arm hurts,
You would ask,
Where? How long has it been hurting? Did you fall down?
is there anything I can do?
do you want me to stay with you for a while?
Most importantly, you will get them to seek help from a doctor.
We can't fix them.
We can't solve their problems
But we can be there for them.
with love,
With kindness,
with care, without judgment, and guide them to the professionals who can help. So, shall we try? Let's ask, how are you?
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 Say, I'm here for you.
I'm here for you. I'm here for you.
Say, I'm here for you. And then listen, listen,
Listen.
listen,
Listen.
Listen.
So it gives really important message. Kalau satu hari kita bekerja seperti hari-hari yang biasa, tiba-tiba salah seorang rakan sekerja kita datang terhincut-hincut. Datang terhincut-hincut. Apa yang kita akan sebut pada dia? Kita akan tanya, kenapa tu? Apa yang berlaku? Duduk. Dah pergi jumpa doktor belum? So itu yang naturally kita akan tanya. Tapi bila ada somebody else datang, nampak sedih dan bagi tahu, aku rasa nak mati dah. For some reason orang akan react differently. Instead of tanya apa yang berlaku, suruh dia duduk, tanya dia dah dapat bantuan ke, kita akan resort tu, kau ni tak ingat Tuhan ke? Kenapa kau fikir macam ni? Tak ingat ke anak-anak ke? Kita tak pernah bila kawan kita terhinjuk-hinjuk sakit kaki kita. Cuba positif sikit. Hidup ni banyak lagi yang lebih menarik yang kita perlu buat. Berlarilah. Kita tak sebut macam tu. Because we know
It hurts.
they are hurt. Mereka terluka. There's something that they need to be helped with. Okay, so sebagai penutup, sama-sama kita sebut sama-sama. Kita punya motto kita hari ni. Yang first one, how are you? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Sebut sama-sama.
How are you?
Macam tak semangat je. Selepas kempen salam dan smile, kita akan buat kempen how are you pula lah, sebab tak berapa nak how are you sangat. Nanti saya jadi panelist forum lagi lah. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
How are you?
Tak kuat lagi lah. Selagi tak kuat, saya tak habis. Saya akan stay sampai tengah hari, insyaAllah. Okay, 1, 2, 3. How are you? Okay, nombor 2. I am here for you. Okay? How are you? I am here for you. Okay, 1, 2 mula.
I am here for you.
Okay, alright. So, terima kasih. So, kita harap dua mantra ni yang jadi kita punya motto kita dalam bekerja, dan supaya kita sentiasa attend to somebody's punya needs. Okay, terima kasih pihak penganjur. Minta maaf atas kekurangan. Mudah-mudahan sikit sebanyak kita dapat manfaat daripada program sepanjang hari ini. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.